On a brighter note, Christmas was replaced by Kwanzaa, invented by a black nationalist after getting out of jail for reportedly stripping and torturing 2 women with batons, vice grips, a gun, a soldering iron, an electric cord, and a wire hose. Joy to the world, y'all. Sadly, if you didn't buy into this ideology, you were not considered a part of the community, and you were not considered black enough. Sadder, I cannot stand before you in complete honesty and say that this warped ideology of liberalism did not affect my life. I too became liberal. Go ahead, you can boo me too. But that's okay, it's only for a short time. I like to call myself liberal light. And not just any conservative, an outspoken conservative with a show on the internet that exposes the left on a weekly basis. I've even been on Fox News because I wrote a book debunking the religion of the left. That would be global warming. Especially when I lived in Los Angeles and I worked in Hollywood. So I risked my livelihood in order to do this. And my answer to them is, it was probably pretty stupid. All jokes aside, looking back, there were a few key aha moments that led me back to my conservative roots along the way. One is the soldiers who fought in Vietnam. Attend some of those social events of the day called anti-war rallies. And like the rest of the anti-establishment idiots there, I didn't know the first thing about war. But I did know deep down that our brave military were risking their lives for us to stay home and act like complete idiots. Shame. And that's what I felt when the soldiers returned home and they were treated with such dishonor and such indignity by so many of those anti-establishment idiots. I have to say that was my first game over moment. Another game changer was my children. You see, the sexual revolution and the radical feminist movement gave a lot to women in those days. Tops on the list was poverty and single motherhood. Having 2 daughters and being on welfare was another wake-up call that made me start thinking, what the heck was I thinking? Something else was slavery. For many years, the left has tried to convince black people that slavery was the biggest reason that we should hate America forever and embrace them, because after all, they feel our pain. But that would be to take lightly what many of my ancestors prayed for and never saw. To be free men and women. This indescribable strength to survive and endure the atrocities of slavery for what I have inherited. That would be the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet liberals have the audacity to expect me to choose to be enslaved by their liberal government system. One that would maintain control over my life and forever limit what I can achieve. I'm sorry, they can keep your so-called sympathy. I'll keep my freedom. There was one more thing that caused me to rethink my thinking on the left, and that's their attack on men. It's not talked about a lot, but they've got it going on. And when I go back to my old neighborhood, I ask about all the men that I grew up with, and their stories were all the same. They were either in jails or in graves. Remember I told you the Crips started in my neighborhood? That started with one gang. I printed out a list of the existing Crips gang in my neighborhood. And this is it. This is just the Crips. There are 250 other gangs in the neighborhood with 26,000 gang members. At first, when I was asked to talk about my life at the Tea Party, I didn't understand what my life had to do with the Tea Party, and then I realized I have seen what the Tea Party has seen, and I have lost what the Tea Party now fears losing. It's funny. They are pitting black against white, rich against poor. But I'll tell you what, we now have more similarities